Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news update show and discussion show. We've got lots to talk about in today's video. There's been some breaking news on Ten Hag that's come out today. Fabrizio Romano has actually confirmed that Manchester United have started talks of managers at the moment, and I'm going to get into that later in the show. We're also going to address Gary Neville's comments about the Glazers, and Gary Neville's hit the nail on the head. He's called out the Glazers, and I completely agree what Gary Neville's had to say, so I will read that out in a second, and I want your guys' opinion on it and all of that. TCHOUMENI to Manchester United links, Rudiger to Manchester United links. We'll talk about some of the youngsters as well. Just lots and lots to talk about at the moment, so do make sure you smash a like, do make sure you subscribe, let me know how you're feeling. Unfortunately, Arsenal won again today, and top four is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And when I mean smaller, the hopes of getting it are smaller and smaller and smaller. But one positive is it's come out that apparently Cristiano Ronaldo is willing to stay at Manchester United despite us not getting top four. Now I will get into exactly what's said, who's reported and everything, but there are reports coming out that Ronaldo is focused on Manchester United. Even if we end up in Europa next season, he will stay and see out his contract, which I think is a positive. Some people think it's a negative, but I think when you've got no Cavani, when you've got Greenwood probably not coming back, although we will probably find out what's happening with Greenwood in the next month, because it's normally if you get arrested end of January, I'd say something has to be done by May. So I think we will get an update on Greenwood in the next month. I will be pretty sure, but I don't think he's going to come back. Cavani isn't coming back. Martial, is he good? Is he not good? I mean, how was Martial versus West Ham the other day? Meh. He was absolutely meh. Martial FC all getting off, hoping Sevilla win, and he produces a masterclass. Crap. Big up West Ham, though. Big up West Ham. I want West Ham to win the Europa League. I don't know about you guys. I actually do want West Ham to win the Europa League. And then we've got some other stuff. Also, Man City. Will Man City get sanctioned? There's a report coming out that Man City's owners have some kind of close relationship with Putin and Russia. I don't know. I will get into that. So if we can see Man City getting sanctioned, points deduction, getting points stripped away, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? But then that would mean Liverpool win the title. So would it be brilliant? I mean, it would be brilliant, but it wouldn't. I mean, can they just give Liverpool, City, Arsenal, and Chelsea a points deduction so we win the league? I mean, perfect. Honestly, I'd actually hate it if that happened, because I wouldn't feel content winning the league if the 4 teams have always had a. But actually, no, I would still be happy. But you know what I mean. We're just going on and on and on. I want to quickly read out. I will read out some comments in a second. So do get your comments in down below. Ronnie staying C says S2P, and it looks like Ronaldo will stay. Steve says, will Man City be sanctioned? I don't think Man City are going to get sanctioned, but it is possible that Manchester City could get sanctioned because of their owners' close relationships with Putin. And I will get into that in the video, but I don't think they will, because they're not Russian, they're Arabic. But yes, Ronaldo to stay, I think, is a good thing. Let me know if you think it's a good or a bad thing, but it is reported that Ronaldo will see out his contract at Manchester United. But I want to get into Gary Neville's comments. I really want to get into Gary Neville's comments, because you know what? He's hit the nail on the head here. And you know what I feel about Gary Neville? Gary Neville was probably the most honest out of the United pundits. I think Roy Keane is my favourite Man United pundit in terms of analysing the game. I think Roy Keane, after the match, says how it is. But I think in terms of raising awareness for problems at this club, Gary Neville has seemed to hit the nail on the head. He talks about the GLAZER ownership, and he said that Manchester United have been the greatest underperformance in Europe this season. That's what Gary Neville told TV2 after Diego Simeone knocked United out of the Champions League. Gary Neville went on to say that Manchester United spent a fortune. They spent over £100 million. They brought the greatest goal scorer in the world. They finished second last season. They got to Europa League final, and now they've completely disintegrated, Gary Neville said. Gary Neville said that he doesn't blame RALF Rangnick, by the way. There are big players at this club. There's big problems at this club. And structurally, from the very top, the owners, to be honest with you, are not good enough. The owners need to sell the club. I've said it all season. They've let the ground disintegrate. They've let the training ground disintegrate. We're now a second-class club in our own country. They used to be the greatest football club in the world, let alone the greatest football club in England. Gary Neville has gone in. He's saying the Glazers have to sell. They're ruining this club. They've let this club disintegrate. They're letting the training ground disintegrate. We've gone from being the greatest club in the world to not even the greatest club in England. We've become a second-class club in our own country, says Gary Neville. I mean, guys, what do you think on that? I think Gary Neville has hit the nail on the head. I mean, he's absolutely spot on. I think the Glazers have to sell the club, The problem is the bastards won't sell the club. I mean, honestly, guys, if I had the money, I'd be buying Manchester United. I'd be spending a lot of money, and I'd be getting rid of a lot of people, you know, and I'd be stripping someone of captaincy as soon as I walk in the door. I'd be like, are we a banter club? No, Rangnick, take his armband off. We're not a banter club. But honestly, the Glazers need to leave. Smash your like if the Glazers need to leave. Gary Neville has literally said the Glazers need to sell. That's not going to impact the Glazers, but it's good that actually someone high up has recognised the Glazers need to sell. I want the Glazers to sell. You want the Glazers to sell. And I was saying this in a video the other day. You know how Chelsea fans are crying that they've been sanctioned and lost Abramovich? Even though Abramovich has had some close relationships with the nasty Putin, Chelsea fans don't care. They love Abramovich still. A lot of them are crying that they've lost Abramovich. You know, if Man United got fucking sanctioned, I'm pretty sure we'd be having a party saying the Glazers are gone, the Glazers are gone. That's how sad it is that Chelsea fans are crying over sanctions, but United fans would probably be celebrating, even though we're fucked that we've been sanctioned, because it would get the Glazers out, and long term, we'd be all right. I mean, the difference, you know, with our owners and everything, I think it's absolutely mad. And talking about sanctions, guys, could Manchester City get a sanction here? Do we want Manchester City to get a sanction? Absolutely yes. Do I think Manchester City are going to get a sanction? Probably not. But let me read out what has been said. So the Telegraph said that the government on Saturday led a chorus of condemnation over Manchester City's owners joining the United Arab Emirates leaders in welcoming Syrian President and Vladimir Putin ally Bashar al-Assad to their country. So basically, Manchester City's owners are really pissed off Boris. Okay, Man City's owners are pissed off Boris because they're kind of allying Vladimir Putin, basically. Now, if I was Boris, I'd give Man City a big fat sanction points deduction and send them to League Two. But obviously, I'm not Boris. And obviously, that would be a bit unfair on Man City. That wouldn't be the necessary punishment. But they are pissing off the UK government. We've seen what they've done to Abramovich. Maybe they'll do something to Man City, but I don't think they will. I don't think City will get sanctioned. I think they've just pissed off the government, which is a shame. A big up Paul, who says keep smashing the like buttons, guys, and subscribe if you're new. And Adam Lalana says the Glazers wouldn't even sell Manchester United even if you bid 4 billion, and that is the sad truth. I could bid 4 billion and there's no chance of me getting United. And David said that he wishes the Glazers were Russian. You know what? I wish the Glazers were Russian as well. It would be so much easier if the Glazers were bloody Russian. And Paul says Ten Hag, pray, pray, pray. I've got some crazy news on Ten Hag. Well, I say crazy. It's not big news. I'm talking Fabrizio Romano and David Vijay. Now, we call him David Vijay because I can't actually pronounce his surname and it just sounds funny. So, sorry, Mike Vijay. Fucking, why am I saying David? It's because I've read bloody David's super chat. Mike Vijay and Fabrizio Romano have given some sick updates on Ten Hag. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Manchester United have started some discussions, and he knows Ten Hag and Pochettino are the front runners. He said it's not a closed race yet. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed Ten Hag discussions with Man United have started. United have started discussions with Ten Hag. Fabrizio Romano also said this manager will have to have a good relationship with Ralf Rangnick, and I'll come back to why that's a big thing that Fabrizio Romano said. Romano also said Ralf Rangnick will be a consultant of the board. He's going to be a big part of the club's decision. This is why Ralf Rangnick would be involved in the process. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Ralf Rangnick will choose the next manager, and that the manager's got to have a good relationship with Ralf Rangnick because that is the way that the club want to go forward. Now, who does Ralf Rangnick want? Ten Hag or Pochettino? We know Ralf Rangnick wants Ten Hag. So even though Man United have narrowed on Ten Hag and Pochettino and started discussions with both Ten Hag and Pochettino, and Romano has confirmed that, we also know by Romano that Ralf Rangnick is going to have the biggest part in choosing this manager, which is massive because if Ralf Rangnick chooses the manager, we know it's Ten Hag. Like, we know it's Ten Hag if Ralf Rangnick chooses the manager. So if we go back into this news here, you know, we know that Ten Hag is leaving Ajax. We know that Ten Hag is flirting with the Man United job. When he's asked about the Man United job, he just kind of brushes it off, but he doesn't say no. If he wasn't going, he'd say no. Luis Enrique said no when he was asked about it. Other managers have said no when they asked about it. Ten Hag and Poch are the only managers, when asked about Man United, that haven't said no to it. They've just brushed it off and avoided the question. So Ten Hag is 100% leaving Ajax. Ten Hag is learning English. Ten Hag wants to come to Manchester United. Ralf Rangnick, according to Romano, will have the overriding decision, and Ralf Rangnick wants Ten Hag, and we've started discussion with Ten Hag. Now, Mike Vijay, we call him Mike Vijay because I can't pronounce his surname, has said this. Now, if I want to clarify, we all know who Fabrizio Romano is. We all know who Fabrizio Romano is, and I will get into some of the live chats in a second. I've seen a couple good live chats, so we'll get into that in a second. Don't worry, guys. Mike Vijay, now, who is he? Now, he is like the Fabrizio Romano of the Netherlands. This guy, Mike, we're going to call him Mike. We're going to call him Mike. Mike is a very, very good journalist when it comes to the Netherlands. He's got very, very good links with Ajax, especially. He is tier 1, top tier Dutch Ajax journalist. He is the Fabrizio Romano of Ajax and Dutch. So we've not only got news from Romano, but I think Mike Vijay is a better source of information when it comes to Ajax than Romano. This guy, for me, is the top source for Ajax news. And he said that he does not think Ten Hag's entire backroom staff will leave with Ten Hag, but he thinks that Ten Hag could bring his assistant to the next club he will go to. So that means if we get Ten Hag, he'd work closely with Rangnick, but also bring an assistant. What Mike also said is he thinks Van der Sar will respect that agreement. He said if a club like Manchester United come and they want Ten Hag, he thinks Van der Sar will let Van der Sar, who's at Ajax, will let Ten Hag and his assistant go to United. Mike also said that the club is mentioned a lot regarding Ten Hag as Manchester United, and he said that Ten Hag would love to go to a club like Manchester United even when it's a mess. So the most reliable Ajax journalist, the best source you can get from Ajax journalism, has said that, you know, when a club like Manchester United approaches Ten Hag, he'd want to go even though it's a mess. That is massive because, you know, you look at Ten Hag definitely leaving Ajax, you look at Ten Hag flirting with United, you look at United going for Ten Hag, but you think, why the fuck would Ten Hag want to go to United? We're a mess. He's just said it's Man United. Ten Hag don't care that Man United's a mess. He wants to go. Mike also said regarding Ten Hag leaving, he said that there's an agreement with Overmars that if a good opportunity comes, he will leave, and Van der Sar will respect that. Mike also said that he thinks that Ten Hag will definitely leave because they've already decided on Huntelaar, and you know, Ten Hag was not a key factor in deciding the structure for next season. And Ten Hag has always decided the structure and worked very closely with the likes of Overmars and Van der Sar regarding the sort of structure and future of Ajax. Ten Hag didn't have a say in whether Huntelaar came to Ajax or not. We know that a really good Ajax source a month ago, when the Overmars story broke out about things that Overmars have been doing, confirmed Ten Hag will leave at the end of the season with Overmars. And Mike Vijay, who's a really, really good source of journalism, the best you can get in terms of Ajax, has said Ten Hag will probably, he basically said Ten Hag's leaving Ajax. It's basically been confirmed without officially confirming it that Ten Hag will leave Ajax. So a lot of people saying, oh, but Ten Hag's at Ajax, United can't get him. It's literally been confirmed that Ten Hag is leaving Ajax. Like, that is confirmed because Overmars has gone, Ten Hag will go. It is confirmed Ten Hag's leaving Ajax. The question is, where does Ten Hag go? Does he go to Real Madrid? If PSG sack Poch, does he go to PSG or does he go to Manchester United? And Mike has said that United are the front runners, even though United's a mess. He likes the idea of Manchester United. We know Ten Hag is learning English, which is questionable. Ten Hag was flirting with Manchester United when questioned about it. And also, Fabrizio Romano said that the people close to the Manchester United board say that it's really, really important that they get the right manager in. And Romano said that Manchester United are entering the final moments of choosing their manager. Now, who have we been, you know, as Romano said, United are in the final days of choosing their next manager, final moments of choosing our next manager. And who have we been linked to the most? Who have Manchester United massively been linked to the last couple of days? Ten Hag. There's not much on Poch to United right now. It's Ten Hag, Ten Hag, Ten Hag, Ten Hag. If you go on Twitter, it's 90% Ten Hag, 10% Poch in terms of United transfer news. And Romano said we're in the final stage of choosing that manager. And I think the fact that we're in the final stage and it's all Ten Hag is a very, very strong indicator. And Richard Fay said that Ten Hag is the favourite and Ten Hag is Rangnick's favourite. And Fabrizio Romano said Rangnick will choose. So if Ten Hag is Rangnick's favourite and Rangnick will choose, surely it's Ten Hag. And Manchester United apparently are set to step up their search for Ten Hag and want to get him before the end of the international break, and we're leading the race. So that's basically everything on Ten Hag in a nutshell. I know I've blabbered about Ten Hag for about 10 minutes, but I've basically told you everything you need to know about Ten Hag. And that is that we could get him by the end of the international break. Now, look, would I be surprised if we got Poch? No. Do I believe we're going to get Ten Hag? If someone asks, if you, on my honest opinion, because people say, Alice, who do you think United are going to get, Poch or Ten Hag? I think we're going to get Ten Hag. From the news that's come out these last 2 days, I believe we'll get Ten Hag. And I wouldn't be surprised if we've got Ten Hag within the next month. I don't think we're going to be waiting until June to find out who our next manager is. I think we're going to get Ten Hag, and I think we'll get him quite soon. David said a cheaper option would be hard, but if PSG sack Poch, it's a difficult choice for the board. No compo money needed to pay off PSG, and that's the thing. Poch could easily be sacked by PSG, and that might sway the owners. Right now, Ten Hag is easier to get than Poch. Right now, Ten Hag is the favourite, but obviously, if Poch gets sacked, will the United board change from Ten Hag to Poch? Steve says Ten Hag will be good news for me. Ten Hag will be absolutely brilliant news, and I have a feeling we will get Ten Hag. And Ten Hag going to United is a big risk because if he flops, his career at the highest level is over, says Adam. I don't think Ten Hag's career will be over if he flops at Manchester United. David Moyes has managed to rejuvenate his career, and I think with Ten Hag as well, I think people were given the benefit of the doubt that United just fucks everyone. If I was managing, look, if I was Liverpool, if I was the owner of Liverpool, and Ten Hag went to United and fucked up at United, I wouldn't write off Ten Hag for the next manager at Liverpool because I'd be like, well, everyone fucks up at United because they're run abysmally. I would go, you know what? Look at Moyes now. He's gone to West Ham and got what he wants. You know, like every manager seems to fuck up at United because we fucked them up. Unless you're Sir Alex Ferguson, unless you're literally the greatest manager on earth, I think you're screwed if you come to United as a manager. I do. And what I really like from Fabrizio Romano, and what Fabrizio Romano said that does fill me with a little bit of confidence, is the fact that Fabrizio Romano said that the next manager will be working closely with Ralf Rangnick. Now, Ralf Rangnick being in the consultancy role is a good thing, but is it, with United, you never know if we're just putting Ralf Rangnick in a consultancy role so we can do it for PR, we can do it to please the fans. The fact that Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Ten Hag will work closely with Ralf Rangnick, or sorry, whoever the next manager is will work closely with Ralf Rangnick, and we know Rangnick wants Ten Hag. Ralf Rangnick apparently is going to work very closely with the next manager and have an input with the next manager. And this is a good thing for Ten Hag and Poch and for any manager that comes in, because every single manager that's come in post Sir Alex Ferguson at Manchester United is sort of been hung out to dry. Not only have they had to deal with the players, not only have they had to deal with leaked reports, a lot of our players are troubled. There's a lot of egos. There's a lot of sour players in that dressing room. There's a lot of players that don't want to be at Man United in the dressing room, causing problems. Not only does the manager who comes in have to deal with player power issues, deal with the negative dressing room, but the next manager of Man United has to deal with the board, has to deal with the owners. I mean, that is an incredibly difficult job, dealing with the Manchester United board, dealing with the Manchester United owners, because they're absolutely incompetent. It's like you're destined to fail. If you come to United, you're almost destined to fail. And that is because the board will just undermine every manager we get. It doesn't matter which manager it's been. Since Sir Alex Ferguson, we just undermine every manager. We don't sell who they want to sell. We don't buy who they want to buy. We never get their first choice signings. We won't back them consistently. We will, leak loads of reports to put pressure on them, put the blame on them, all about PR. Man United treat every single manager they've had like shit. I mean, Ralf Rangnick said to Man United he wanted Hedera and Julian Alvarez in January because he's worried he won't be able to get top four. They don't care. They said, oh, we'll let Julian Alvarez go to Man City, even though Ralf Rangnick, who discovered Kimmich, even though Ralf Rangnick, who discovered Haaland, Firmino and Mane at a young age when they're in a foreign league, wants Julian Alvarez. We're going to ignore Ralf Rangnick, who's spotted loads of good youngsters, and let Julian Alvarez go to Manchester fucking City instead of spend £17 million in January when we desperately needed a young striker. Because we let go of Martial, Greenwood went and fucked his career up, Cavani's gone, and Ronaldo's 37. Imagine if we got Julian Alvarez in January. Imagine if we got Hedera in January. We might actually be in fourth place. We might actually not be 4 points behind Arsenal with them having a game in hand, which makes them 7 points ahead, with also us having to play Liverpool, which is a guaranteed loss. The Glazers have all ignored every manager. And it's like, this is the problem. You could get Ten Hag at Manchester United, but if Ten Hag goes, I want this player, I want that player, and Rangnick goes, yeah, we want these two youngsters, and United go, yeah, we're not spending the money, we'll let those two youngsters go Man City, then you're fucked. Because I generally think Man United letting Julian Alvarez go to Manchester City is going to be something we regret. Because when Julian Alvarez, I tell you this now, in 5 years' time, when Julian Alvarez is scoring hat-tricks against us and getting us relegated to the Championship, and Man City are winning Champions Leagues, I'll say we could have gotten 15 million and you ignored Rangnick. The Ralf Rangnick that found Kimmich, Werner, Mane, Firmino, Haaland, and you ignored that Ralf Rangnick board. You also chose to get Aguero over Haaland. And what else did the board choose to do? Oh, spend 150 million on Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, and Daniel James. Yet, they didn't want Ralf Rangnick's input. Cool. Now, this summer, it's very important that Ralf Rangnick in the consultancy role has a larger say than the board. And what I like about what Fabrizio Romano has hinted is that Ralf Rangnick will have the main say in the next manager. If Ralf Rangnick chooses the next manager, if Ralf Rangnick chooses who we buy and sell with Ten Hag, we're in the right direction. But if we go get Poch and then we go chuck Rangnick out and we undermine Poch and Poch becomes our yes man and we buy overpriced English players and become Brexit FC and PR FC and social media FC and buy big names for shirt sales but not the crucial CDM that we need, then we will fall as a club. Boom. Honestly, full. A lot of the players need to leave. Also, I think De Gea should be captain, says Chris. Look, I agree. De Gea, Varane, Ronaldo, Bruno. Put one of them as captain, although Bruno on current form probably shouldn't be captain as well. Duncan said we had Depay, Di Maria, Blind, Herrera. We had top players and we still blame the manager. I'm not blaming the manager. I want to say right now. I am not, like, if you just listen to the last 5 minutes, what I'm saying is every manager that comes to Manchester United, I feel is destined to fail. In a weird way, yes, our managers could have done better, but I don't think you can blame the managers at Manchester United post Sir Alex, because Moisey was hung out to dry because we only got Fellaini in, and Sir Alex, got the best and the last out of a very aging, poor United squad. When you look at the squad that Sir Alex won the league with in 2013, it was shit. Like, only Sir Alex could win the league with that, and we left Moisey with that and Fellaini. Moyes had no hope, and then all of a sudden West Ham actually gave Moyes a bit of backing, and look what he's doing at West Ham. They're in a Europa League quarter-final against Lyon. If they win that, they'll be in the Europa League semi-final against Barcelona. Mad. Van Gaal's always been a good manager. Yeah, he was fucking boring. But we never properly backed him either. And then we go into Mourinho, who basically won the league at every club, then United just screw him over and not buy him who he wants. We go buy Lee Grant, Fred and Delo in a transfer window. And, that's us gone. And then Ollie wasn't the best manager in the world. But, we never got that CDM. It could have been a different story with the CDM. And then Ralf Rangnick got absolutely no backing. Steve says, just shows how good Sir Alex was. It is. And you know what? I really hope Man United can change their situation around. I hope that the board changes the structure. I hope that it's about what the manager wants, not what the finances want, not what the board want. But I also hope that the players respect the next manager, because one thing I don't like about Manchester United, and one thing I always hear about Manchester United, is that I think the board treat every manager that comes into United shit and will throw every manager under the bus at Man United. And I think that's really why nearly every manager has failed, because of the structure of the board. You can say managers have been backed, but when you look at the backing, is it players that the manager wants, or is it players that the board want as well? Is it PR sales? Are they selling players? But I think as well, a lot of the players have been against United managers, throwing them under the bus. And our next manager needs to be able to control those players, but also the board need to respect that next manager. And I want Ten Hag. I want Ten Hag to work closely with Rangnick. I want Ten Hag to bring some of his coaches and assistants. I want the board to give full power of transfers to Ten Hag and Rangnick and say, buy and sell who you want. I want them to, be respectful of Rangnick and also respectful of Ten Hag. But I also want the players to stop acting like babies and leaking shit when things don't go their way. And what I will say is Manchester United players have been given a week off, okay? And I just want to throw this out, yeah? Manchester United, and look, players, they deserve a week off. They do play a lot in the Premier League, but players do deserve time off. But when you're out of every cup competition and we're only going to be playing a game a week for the next couple of weeks to the end of the season, why do the Man United players need a week off? Because I want to say this now. Man United have been shit. These players have been shit at their job this season. These players have underperformed. They threw the manager under the bus. They've embarrassed themselves. They've not tried their hardest. And, because they're shit at their job, instead of punishing them, instead of making them crack down, we go, yeah, have a holiday. Not only are we rewarding these players with ridiculously high wages for being shit at their job, but we're rewarding them with another holiday. I don't get it. It's like, yeah, you've been crap at your job. Yeah, you've been crap this season. There you go. Have a holiday. Another week off for these Manchester United players. Does anyone else think, does that not bother anyone else? I think, look, I understand giving players a week off and that, but we're not top of the league. We're not playing well. Why are these Man United players getting a week off when they've been absolutely shocking? Do you know what I mean? Why are we rewarding these Man United players with a week off? Why? Yeah, United, you get a week off. They've been crap. We should be saying, oh my God, you're so crap. You've been knocked out all the cup competitions. We're not going to get top four. That Arsenal side's finishing above us. The fact that Arsenal are going to finish above us this season is unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable that Arsenal might finish above Manchester United this season, and we're going to go reward the United players with a freaking week off again, even though they've got another 2 weeks off because half of them aren't even in the international squad. Now, Jadon Sancho not being international squad is an absolute joke. Southgate, you prat. But that's what I mean. So basically, most of our players have got 3 weeks off for being absolutely crap. I mean, that honestly infuriates me. Daniel says we're only 30 likes away from 100 likes, guys, so please do smash that like button if you have not hit that like button. And Andrew says no Man United manager has truly had authority since Sir Alex Ferguson, nor was there a cohesive squad fully suited to the manager's style of play either. Absolutely spot on, Andrew. And Duncan said the Glazers brought Manchester United because their business was doing bad, so they got the club and now living on the club's money. It's sad watching from South Africa. Love your streams. It is sad. The Glazers should never have been allowed to buy Manchester United. They should have never been allowed it because they just put their debt on us. The Glazers are bad businessmen. The Glazers are failed businessmen with crap businesses that bought Man United to put their debt on to offload them out. This is the thing. You know, good businessmen can run a club, make money from it. The reason the Glazers are such bad businessmen is because if they were good businessmen, they would have backed Ralf Rangnick in January because they would have thought, shit, we need top four to get that money. Us not getting top four and us not spending in January is going to cost the Glazers more money in the summer. But if they brought in January, they could have got Champions League. They could have got higher funds. The Glazers are like the most incompetent business people ever. Like, I can't explain how incompetent the Glazers are because it's just simple business. They don't seem to know. I'm thinking, like, you just buy this, buy that. No, honestly. The Glazers are probably the biggest idiots in football. I mean, yeah, you can get a Garlo for 20 mil, you can get Haaland for 20 mil. More often we should get a Garlo, you know. Oof. I mean, the fact that Ed Woodward was at this club for 8 years, 8 years of failure, and they only sacked Ed Woodward because of the Super League. If it wasn't for the Super League, Ed Woodward would still be here after 8 years of failure. The fact that we've not won a trophy in 5 years is on the Glazers, and Gary Neville was absolutely right. He said the Glazers have let this club run to the ground. We've gone from being the biggest club in the world to not even the biggest club in England to not even a Champions League club anymore because of the Glazers just letting this club die, because of them letting the standards fall. The stadium is disintegrating. The training ground is disintegrating. The club is disintegrating. Everything about this club has just gone downhill. And when Ronaldo returned to United, he couldn't believe how the standard of this club had just dropped. Ronaldo could not believe it as well. Rue, thank you for the super chat. He said that Sir Alex prevented us from winning anything in the last 20 years. Let that sink in. P.S. Glad those times are over. I'm assuming you're a Liverpool fan. And look, Sir Alex Ferguson never let Liverpool win the league. Never. If Sir Alex Ferguson was here and the Glazers weren't here, Liverpool would not be on the verge of maybe getting a quadruple. I mean, guys, this season could not get any worse from a Manchester United fan. Gaz says we need another protest, and I agree with you, Gaz. We do need another protest. You know, we need that protest to be as big as that fucking one last year after the Super League. We do need another protest, Gaz. But everything at United is crap this season. I mean, this has to be the worst season ever as a Manchester United fan. Like, honestly, this has to be the worst season ever because not only have we been knocked out of every cup competition, not only were we out of the title race by October and out of the top four race by March, but the Champions League final is highly likely to be Liverpool versus Manchester City. It's between Liverpool and Manchester City for the Premier League title, and Arsenal, who are like our Twitter rivals and our social media rivals, are going to get fourth. So not only are we going to watch our two arch rival clubs win the two biggest trophies in football, not only are Arsenal, our biggest banter club rivals, going to get top four with a much worse team than us, but we've also had a shambolic season. We're going to lose Paul Pogba. We might lose Ronaldo, however, Ronaldo is apparently set to stay. Like, everything at Manchester United has just gone tits fucking up. Like, this season, if Man City win the Champions League and Liverpool win the league, it will be the worst season you could write. Because, honestly, I'd rather Liverpool win the Champions League and City win the league because we don't want City to win the Champions League. But I genuinely believe that this season has been so bad. This season has been so against us that not only are Arsenal going to get top 4 and all their fans are going to kill us on social media and Twitter's, you can't open Twitter. But City are probably going to get their first Champions League this season because just to rub it in with how shit we've been. Liverpool are probably going to get another fucking Premier League and equal us on 20 league titles. I mean, this season is just going from bad to worse. I just feel like everything's against us. I'm scared. You know, honestly, Sir Alex said knock Liverpool off their perch. Exactly. And someone just put in a good thing here. Manchester United have just been to 2 quarterfinals in the Champions League since 2011. A shambolic record in Europe. 2 quarterfinals in the last 11 years in the Champions League. Manchester United, not good enough. And Scott Kelter, thank you for the super chat. There's going to be a protest on the 15th of May. Is there going to be a protest on the 15th of May? I'm not aware of it. But, I mean, look, as a United fan, as a fan channel, I'm down for a protest on the 15th of May. So, you know, if we can make that a thing, we can make that a thing because we need to get the moaners out. You know, we just, honestly, if there's anyone out there that's really, really smart and can somehow frame the Glazers for being Russian and pretend that they're funding Putin, that'd be brilliant and we just get them fucked off. But, honestly, Paul says this season is worse than the Moyes era. And I think you're right, Paul. I think this season is worse than the Moyes era. And people say, yeah, but we didn't even finish in Europe in the Moyes era. It's not that. It's that you look at that squad that Moyes had and you look at that squad that we have now. It's just our players. We finished second. We signed Sancho, Varane and Ronaldo after finishing second. And yet we're going to come 5th at best this season with no trophy. Like, how does that happen? What has happened? You know, this season has just gone... We had expectations to be in a title race. We had expectations to win the Champions League. We're out the title race by October. We're out the top 4 race by March. 10 games to go and top 4's basically gone. For a team that finished second, brought the most elite goal scorer, Rafa Varane and Sancho. What has happened to this football club? This season was like Champions League, maybe. Oh, we could maybe win the Premier League, but we didn't think we would. So we're shit. Like, in the space of 6 months, in August, we were thinking Premier League, Champions League, Ronaldo. In August, we thought we'll be in a title race, but we'll probably bottle the title race March, April, and we'll probably win a trophy in August. Now, we've bottled top 4 and no trophies with this super powerful squad. Like, it's just gone so wrong this season. It's mental to comprehend how bad it's gone this season. And you know what? Am I even shocked? No. You know what, mate? You know, you could sort of see it coming. No, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see it being this bad. But I did say when people said we'd win the league, we'd win the Champions League, I said there's no hope United are winning the Premier League or the Champions League. Maybe an FA Cup, maybe a Carabao Cup, because I said we've neglected the CDM for so long. You know, maybe United had this coming. Maybe having Ollie and their coaches for 3 years, and let's be real, no one improved under Ollie. Greenwood, Martial and Rashford all declined from their first season to their third season under Ollie. I don't care what you say. Rangnick's come in and we've actually seen improvements in Dalot, Fred, McTominay, Sancho. Rangnick's come in and improved players. All Ollie had was a good season out of Luke Shaw. You know, maybe this was coming from 3 years of no real growth in players under Ollie. Maybe this was coming from Ollie being too nice to the players for 3 years and letting them get away with murder, which has resulted in big player egos at Manchester United, causing big problems. There's some big egos at Manchester United. Maybe we had this coming and neglecting a CDM for 3 seasons. Maybe we had this coming from giving an £80 million player captaincy who's playing on poor form and never deserved to be captain. Maybe we had this bad season coming because we kept rewarding the same underperforming players instead of giving players like Donny van de Beek a chance. Whether Donny van de Beek was good enough or not, he should have been given a chance. So maybe this shit season is what we deserve for neglecting a CDM for 3 seasons, for the on and off backing of the Glazers, for letting the training ground disintegrate, for letting the standards of the club disintegrate, for employing Ollie's friends. We employed people that Sunderland wouldn't take. We employed people that Hull City wouldn't take because it was Friends FC. We've employed Darren Fletcher because he's an ex-player, and Ralf Rangnick came out and basically said he has no fucking clue what Fletcher's role is at this club. I don't think Darren Fletcher even knows what his role is at the club. So maybe we're getting what we deserve for giving club legends roles off being a club legend rather than actually being competent for the job. Maybe this is what we deserve for not signing a CDM and getting Ronaldo purely for PR and shirt sales. Maybe this is what we had coming. maybe it's what we had coming. And I don't want people to think that I'm blaming Ollie for all of this. It's not Ollie's fault. But as Andrew said, he thinks Ollie's negative play prepared the cracks on the squad quality. Honestly, how many players would get into City, Liverpool, and Chelsea squad? I mean, how many Man United players would get into City, Liverpool, and Chelsea squads? De Gea wouldn't, Wan-Bissaka wouldn't, Delot wouldn't, Maguire wouldn't, Lindelof wouldn't. He'd maybe rotate for some of them, but he wouldn't get in. Varane would probably get in. Bailly maybe would rotate. Luke Shaw wouldn't get in. Maybe for Chelsea, Luke Shaw would get in. Tellers wouldn't get in. McTominay wouldn't get in any of their squads. Fred wouldn't get in any of their squads. Bruno, I think, would get in, to be fair to him, even though he's had an off-season. I think Sancho would get in. Pogba would probably get in. Ronaldo would get in. Rashford wouldn't get in, though. You know, most star players wouldn't get in City, Liverpool, and Chelsea squad. And you're right there, Andrew. And Paul said we need a manager that puts the fear of God in players. We do, Paul. And I don't know who it was. I think it was Gary Neville that said this, actually. And I think Gary Neville was asked who's the best captain he's ever had. I think it was Gary Neville or Rio or Owen Hargreaves. It was one of the United players that works as a pundit. They basically were asked who the best captain they ever had was, and they said Roy Keane was the greatest captain in Man United history. Okay, you know, we've gone from having Roy Keane as captain, that would give his all for the club, was arguably the best player on the pitch whenever he played, and, you know, had the personality, the mentality, and would scare the players, to Maguire as captain. And you wonder why the standards of this club have fallen when we are giving our underperforming player an armband week in, week out. I mean, you know, Roy Keane was respected as Manchester United captain because arguably, and I wasn't around much in the Roy Keane era, but from what I hear, from what I know, arguably, and from the player Roy Keane is, Roy Keane used to be pretty much Manchester United's best player week in, week out on the pitch. Most weeks, Roy Keane was basically United's best player. And he was captain, and, you know, Roy Keane's a scary guy. Maguire is not good enough to be starting for Manchester United and he's captain. And is this what we deserve, guys? Because I'm sorry, you know, how is Maguire captain? He's never been a captain, even when he was on form. He's never had the mentality from it. But if you're a player at Manchester United, if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, if you're Jadon Sancho, if you're Bruno Fernandes, if you're Rafa Varane, okay, and Harry Maguire's captain and it's gone to shit and Harry Maguire's trying to tell you to do better, I'm sorry, but you're going to think, F off, Harry. How can these players, and the fact that the leaks have come, the thing is, all the leaks that have come out regarding Harry Maguire is basically, there's been so many leaks that players don't understand why Maguire's captain. There's been so many leaks that players can't understand why Maguire's starting. There's been so many leaks about players asking Ronaldo to be captain. There's been leaks about Ronaldo and Maguire feud because Ronaldo is taking over the dressing room as captain and Maguire doesn't like it because he wears the armband, but they're listening to Ronaldo. Maguire has no control with the dressing room. Maguire, you might as well just stick fake captain on Maguire's armband because he just wears that armband for show. He doesn't do anything with that armband because the players don't listen to Maguire because they can't have respect for Maguire because he's not good enough to start for Manchester United. And on current form, he shouldn't be even in the starting 11. So, you know, how do you expect a player that isn't good enough for this club to, you know, be your captain? When times are crap, you rely on that captain to lift you up. But when your captain is one of the reasons you've been crap, when the captain was basically at both fault for both goals you conceded in the Champions League and partially the reason you get knocked out the Champions League, how do you show respect for that captain? You can't. Like, if I'm a United player and Harry Maguire's bossing me around, I think, shut up, clown feet, you should be dropped. You know, that's one of the problems. Our captain has no control. You know, when we lose, we collapse, leaks come out, we fall. No team crumbles like United under pressure, crumbles after a loss like United, leaks out. After one loss under Rangnick, it was leaks. One bad game under Rangnick and it was leaks, drama FC. No team crumbles like United crumbles. None. Because that's a captain's job. To when we go 2-1 down to City, we don't give up. We push and push and push. You know, I remember when we went 2-1, when we were 2-0 down to City under Jose Mourinho, we won 3-2. Where was that mentality on the pitch the other week? Wasn't there. Because when your captain is Harry Maguire, and when you're 3-1 down to City and you give up, when you have one loss and you leak reports, that is on the captain. The fact, you know, the captain can't motivate the squad. The captain can't get us playing. And, you know, Arsenal just had a loss to Liverpool, bounce right back versus Villa. And we have a loss. We can't just bounce back and get over it. It's not, you know, that's just a blip for Arsenal, that one loss. We're just going to be loss, draw, win, win, loss, draw, win, win. We can't get any momentum. We can't get over it. because we don't have the mentality, because the captains can't do his job. And maybe it's because the captain is not good enough to be playing, so it's going to be 10 times harder for him to lift the players' morale. Honestly, Andrew says not only Maguire's not good enough, but 90% of our squad aren't good enough. We need a massive overhaul. I agree. Gaz says the only armband Maguire should have on is swimming ones. Lol, that's quite funny. And two of the best captains I ever knew said Cristiano were KEANE, Vidic, and even Gary Neville. I mean, we've gone from having KEANE and Vidic as captains to Harry Maguire. Honestly, it's an absolute joke. And Daniel says Maguire should be dropped from the starting 11. Definitely. I don't understand why it's just Rashford that's been dropped and not Maguire too. Exactly. Why? Look, Rashford's been poor, but he's getting dropped. Maguire just seems undroppable. And you know what infuriates me is Gareth Southgate's done the same thing. I'm thinking, fucking hell, has Maguire got your nudes or something? What is it about every manager refusing to drop Maguire? Is Maguire difficult? Look, to an extent, I understand why Gareth Southgate didn't drop Maguire. Mings and Cody are worse than Maguire, and Mings is having just as bad a season as Harry Maguire. Tomori's been brilliant, and I would have dropped Mings for Tomori. I think Maguire deserves England more than Mings, because Mings has basically been useless for England the last few seasons, where Maguire has been England's most experienced centre-back and best centre-back the last few seasons. But Tomori right now deserves to start for England. And, and I think I understand why he didn't drop Maguire, because you've got to think, yeah, Maguire's been crap, but he has been England's best centre-back over the last few years. But Tomori has to be in there. For me, I would have dropped Mings for Tomori, because Mings is just as bad as Maguire, but at least Maguire is good for England when Mings is meh. But Tomori should have been in there under Mings. But Southgate basically said that, yeah, Rashford was dropped because of poor form, which is fair enough. But also, Southgate said that, Jadon Sancho doesn't deserve to be in the England squad ahead of Jack Grealish and Emile Smith-Rowe on form. Emile Smith-Rowe's barely played in 2 months. Jack Grealish has been shit in 2 months. Sancho and Saka have been the two best wingers in the league in the last 3 months, but Sancho doesn't get called up. I guarantee you this, England is favouritism. Gareth Southgate is an English Ollie. It's favouritism. If Rashford finds form, let's say Jadon Sancho continues his form to the end of the season, but let's say Rashford picks up form. Rashford will be back in that England squad as soon as he picks up form. Jadon Sancho has basically got to keep bossing it and play like a god to get in that England squad, because Southgate has favourites. If, it was Marcus Rashford and not Jadon Sancho right now, and let's say if we swap Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho over, and Rashford had been poor, but all of a sudden he picked up form and been good the last 2 months, Rashford would have got called up for England. Jadon Sancho's dropped form, but he's been brilliant for the last 2 months. Doesn't get called up. Grealish gets called up. Smith-Rowe gets called up. He's barely played. Maguire gets called up. Tyrone Mings gets called up, who's been as bad as Maguire, not even Villa's best centre-back. Tomori and Sancho don't get called up. You could even argue Jacob Ramsey deserves to call up as well. I mean, I think it's a joke. I think it's an absolute joke. I mean, Southgate's just another Ollie, but this Maguire favouritism. Southgate has to play Maguire. Ollie had to play Maguire. Rangnick has to play Maguire. I mean, what is it? I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy. And I do understand why Southgate picked Harry Maguire. I actually do understand why Southgate picked Maguire, because he has been England's best centre-back and most experienced. But on current form, it should be Ben White and Tomori starting for England. But you have Maguire there for experience. I agree with that. But not picking Sancho. I mean, if you think Southgate not picking Sancho was criminal, smash that like button, guys. If you haven't already, please do smash that like button. If your Glazer's out, also smash that like button if you think Sancho should have been called up for England. And also, guys, if you're new and you're not subscribed to Alice Talks Football, please do go ahead and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. It'd be really, really appreciated if you do subscribe to Alice Talks Football. We're on the road to 31,000 subscribers. We're only like 60 subscribers off 31k, so please do subscribe if you're not subscribed. Smash a like on the video, share the video and all that. What we're going to be doing towards the end of the video, actually, for the last sort of 20 minutes of this video, what I will do is we're actually going to do rating United players' seasons out of 10, and you guys can get involved and have votes and all of that. So we'll start that in about 10 minutes, but I've got a couple other things to get into. Daniel said that Tomori should have been called up months ago. I agree with you, Daniel. Tomori should have been called up back in October, not just now. I agree. And Chris Allen said, if I was Rashford, I'd be worried because he may not even go to the World Cup. That's the thing. If Rashford might not even go to the World Cup at the way it's going as well. We are on 100 likes, guys. Can we push for 200 likes? So please do smash that like button if you have not already. Daniel says that Grealish has been mayor for 2 months. He doesn't know why Southgate has forgotten about Sancho. I absolutely agree. And Southgate looks like a snooker player, says Gaz. And David said Sancho should have never been dropped, at minimum have him on the bench. I mean, look, for England, for me, our best front three for England is Kane, Saka, Sancho. And you get these people going, oh, Foden's clear of Sancho. What has Phil Foden done to be clear of Sancho? Phil Foden had one good game versus Liverpool, became a hype boy, averaged for a couple of games, and there's another brilliant game, becomes a hype boy. Phil Foden is a good player. Phil Foden is an incredibly gifted player, but Phil Foden this season has not been better than Bukayo Saka. Yet we all act like Phil Foden's God, but I think Bukayo Saka this season has outperformed all of Foden's other seasons, and I will say that now. I like Foden, but I think he's one of the most overrated players in the Premier League. I do. Honestly, and are you glad it's the international break this season? Honestly, I hate the international break. I don't know about you guys. I don't watch England friendlies. I watch England in the Euros. I watch England in the World Cup, and that's it. If I'd watch England. If we were giving some player a debut, let's say Charlie McNeil broke through at Man United and then got called up for England, I'd go watching a friendly then, be like, oh, it's Charlie McNeil's debut, for example. I was going to name someone else, but no. If a United player got called up for England that hadn't played for England much, maybe I'd watch England, but I'm bored. I'm bored of England, to be honest, guys. Absolutely bored. And look, I worry for Marcus Rashford, I do. He needs to get up. I worry there's a mentality issue with Marcus Rashford, not a mentality issue in the sense that he doesn't want to be at United. I worry there's a mentality issue that, Bukayo Saka got over that penalty situation a lot differently to Rashford. When Rashford's down, it takes a lot to get him up. That's what I worry about with Rashford. Now, guys, I want to get into some transfer news, and then we're going to get into the interactive part of this video where you guys can join us and all of that. And Foden's off the ball player is exceptional. I will give him that as well. And Daniel says he loves international football, but he hates the international break. It's weird for me. I just don't like the international break because it breaks up the seasons. But into the transfer news, guys. Okay, so there was a rumour that Rudiger had gone to Juventus. Now, Rudiger to Juventus, that is not true. He might go to Juventus, but it was confirmed that Rudiger is still a Chelsea player. He hasn't agreed to join any clubs. Christian Falk has said that United are interested in signing Rudiger. Matt Hughes of the Daily Mail said that Rudiger will leave Chelsea on a free transfer this summer, with United and Newcastle aiming to go for him. So United still have a chance of getting Rudiger. I don't think he'll come to United, but he's one to keep an eye on. I'd like Rudiger, I'd like Anthony, I'd like Nunes, and I'd like TCHOUMENI in the summer. Not going to get any of them. Well, we might get one or two of them. But also, if Leeds get relegated, Rafinha's release clause will be 25 million euros. If Leeds get relegated, which is unlikely after that good result after Wolves, and I think Jesse Marsch is a very, very good manager, but we could get Rafinha for 25 million euros, which is around 20 million pounds if Leeds get relegated, which, we do need a right winger considering Sancho has become a left winger as well. And also, Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United depending on the new manager, if he likes the new manager, apparently. Which is fair enough. I think he'll leave no matter who the new manager is. But I guess if you've got Zidane, Paul Pogba would probably stay at Manchester United. But a player that we have been linked to is TCHOUMENI. And you guys know I love TCHOUMENI. You know I can't say his name. I have no idea how to say his name because I said TCHOUMENI and everyone was like, no, it's TCHOUMENI. Then I started saying TCHOUMENI and everyone was saying it's TCHOUMENI. So I don't know how to say his name because commentators say his name like in French and it sounds really good and I can't repronounce it. But with TCHOUMENI, my French CDM, it has come out from J-Felix Diaz that Manchester United and Liverpool have asked about TCHOUMENI and they see him as a possible move option. He also said that the Premier League is the most likely destination with TCHOUMENI as he's got no agreement with Real Madrid. And then Sport Witness and Marca have also linked us to TCHOUMENI. And Sport Witness said that Manchester United are particularly hot on the trail of French midfielder Aurélien TCHOUMENI. The price could be in the region of 60 million euros, which is around 50 million pounds for TCHOUMENI, according to Sport Witness. And then my first thought is I think TCHOUMENI will end up at Real Madrid. I think United and Liverpool have just been brought in to speed up Real Madrid and act like there's a threat. I think United are probably being used. As much as I'd like TCHOUMENI, as much as I think Chelsea wanted TCHOUMENI, but obviously with Chelsea's situation, we do have it's easier for United to get TCHOUMENI because of the Chelsea situation. I think TCHOUMENI was going to end up at Real Madrid or Chelsea. And I think United is just a name that's thrown in there to help other teams get their deals sorted and for journalism. However, TCHOUMENI would be perfect for United. He's a CDM. It's exactly what we need. So I understand why we're linked to TCHOUMENI. I understand he's a player that we should be looking at. But I just think, with United, they love Declan Rice. There's Hedera and Declan Rice. When United are linked to them, that they're players that United are interested in. I'd like to think we're interested in TCHOUMENI, but I don't know for sure. So I don't know if we're just being linked to him for the sake of PR. Dabo says it's TCHOUMENI. I think it is TCHOUMENI. Someone said TCHOUMENI. I mean, who knows? If he comes a United player, I will learn how to say his name correctly. So I hope he comes a United player. Do you think Maguire will be sold in the summer, says Daniel Fleming? No. However, if Ten Hag is manager, I don't believe he will start Maguire because Ten Hag relies on a high line and pace. I think Ten Hag would like Varane and Bailly, and I think if we got Rudiger, it would be Varane and Rudiger under Ten Hag. And I think then we'd result. This is the thing. I think if we get Ten Hag and he plans to play a high line with quick centre backs, we have to let Ten Hag sell Maguire. Because then you have a Maguire not playing who will cause issues within the dressing room, which lowers squad morale, which causes problems. Because Maguire has a massive influence in the dressing room. We know that he's captain. For me, I would sell Maguire unless the next manager actually said, no, I like Maguire. But the thing is, Ten Hag might come in and say he doesn't want Maguire, but the board will say, well, we can only get 20 million for Maguire in the summer. That's going to make us look stupid and we refuse to sell Maguire on a loss. That's probably what the board are going to do. They're probably just going to be like, yeah, no, you can't sell Maguire. Gaz says, call him Chewy. I mean, no, we should call him Chewy. And Showkat Khan says, problem with Rashford is that he cannot play one-touch football. He's used to Solskjaer ruined him by playing long ball tactics. And I think with Rashford, he did his... I think Rashford's main years of development were under Ollie. You know, the 2.5 seasons that Rashford played under Ollie were his best seasons. You know, Rashford was his best under Ollie when we were playing negative football. And Rashford excelled as a player playing negative football because even with Jose Mourinho, we played negative football under Jose Mourinho as well. So maybe the problem with Marcus Rashford, guys, is that we've been playing so much negative football that he's actually become a player used to negative football. And now that we're not playing negative football, it's fast touch, one-touch football, very reliant on intelligence. Rashford is struggling because of his lack of player intelligence. And maybe with Marcus Rashford, it might just take him off season to really adapt and learn, because I think Rashford is working hard in training. You get the impression after what's been said that Rashford is working hard in training. And I just think the situation with Marcus Rashford is... I think it's just going to take a little bit of time. I genuinely believe that Marcus Rashford could be having a Sterling-like season where everyone thinks that he's crap and he's finished and he's done and all of that. And then he just comes out and he goes, I'm back. You know, I still think there's a player in Marcus Rashford because he's 24. And I think maybe his problem was playing Ollie ball for so long. And so he's not used to Rangnick ball. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Ollie has not helped Rashford off the pitch. To mollycoddled. Yeah, I do agree with that. Ralf Rangnick needs to be sat. No, we keep Ralf Rangnick to the end of the season, put him in a consultancy role. I'll say this now and I'll say it again. I could not care less if Pep Guardiola or Klopp was Man United manager. I think none of them would succeed with these players. Throwing them under the bus. I think every single Manchester United player just seems to want to throw every single manager under the bus. I think it's a disgrace. Guys, if you have not already, please do smash that like button. If you're watching right now and you've not watched me before, I mean, it would be brilliant if you could subscribe to Alice Talks Football. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do click that subscribe button. Bish bash bosh would be highly appreciated. Alice, do you know if Greenwood's ever going to play for us again? Unlikely. I said this before. With Mason Greenwood, he got arrested at the end of January. So most likely, mid to end April, he will go for court, I would say we'll find out towards the end of April. I think in about a month's time, there will probably be a decision made whether Greenwood's guilty or not guilty. If he's guilty, he never plays football again. If he's not guilty, I think he can play football again, but it will be a difficult situation. If I'm going to be honest with you, we all know what's happening with Mason Greenwood in a month's time, I think, when he goes to trial. But I don't think he'll play again for United. If I'm being honest, I don't think he will. And all of that. And blaming Ralf, lol jokers, these players are lazy, losers, bad mentality. Yeah, I don't think any of the problems that Manchester United to do with Ralf Rangnick. Yeah, there's better managers out there. But as I said, Pep, Klopp, do you think they'd win the league and Champions League with this United squad? No. Because, you know, when players give up when you're 3-1 down to Manchester City and walk and let Manchester City have 92% possession in a 15-minute period, that is not on the manager. That is on the players. That is on the players not trying. That, you know, that's when you go, no, those players, no. You know, honestly, will Pop believe? Most likely. Whatever the result, Greenwood shouldn't play for us again. I agree. Even if Greenwood is found not guilty, I don't think he should play United again, unless there's significant evidence that it was all coerced, all fake, and he'd never done it. And it was, you know, I think it'd be difficult. I think if Harriet came out and said that it was all fake, I don't know. Yeah, definitely. And in our defence, Maguire, Shaw, and Wan-Bissaka are not world-class standard defenders. Yeah, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, or Shaw have not proven to be good enough to play at this level this season. And the players gave up at United, and that is the biggest problem. Our players have given up. And you know, when your players give up, when your manager isn't back, when you're run by clowns, and when your captain's Harry Maguire, as a squad, it feels we are fucked, aren't we? We absolutely are fucked. What about wingers? United are interested in Anthony and Rafinha. I think if we get Ten Hag, Anthony's a strong shout. I think Danjuma. Is Danjuma? I think we were linked to him as well. There's a couple of wingers we're linked to. Obviously, if you were subscribed to me last summer, you know as soon as the summer transfer window opens, I do 7 p.m. lives every day. So obviously the summer transfer window won't open for a good 2 months. I start my transfer videos in May though. From mid-May to end of August, I do loads of transfer content. I do 7 p.m. live shows, and then I also do like 12:30 p.m. videos if there's breaking news throughout the transfer window. So, you know, if you want to subscribe, do subscribe, because I will be hot heavy on United transfer news on this channel. And Elanga is special. Hopefully they realise that. I mean, talking of young players that are special though, Elanga is a good player. Garnacho is 17, guys, and he's been called up for the Argentina international team. You know, Sedanic, Bowen, Hannibal Meshby getting call-ups, cool. Okay, but, you know, with all due respect, Argentina is a very good international team. Very good. And our 17-year-old's been called up for Argentina, Garnacho. And he's not even been called up for United first team. Mad. Alejandro Garnacho is a baller. I do not know why we have 2 goalkeepers on our substitute bench when you've got McNeil and Garnacho killing it in the youth team, and actually we're quite short on young strikers and young wingers, and that's who we want to get in the summer. Give them a chance. I think when top 4 is mathematically gone, we got to be playing Garnacho. We've got to be playing him. I think he's brilliant. You know, a couple of them I think are brilliant, but definitely not ready. I don't think Garnacho's ready, but I think give him a game. Give him a game, you know. I don't know if you guys feel like that. Honestly, and Nkuku, Neves, Basuma, and a fast centre back. The rest youngest could be easy. I mean, look, actually, I've got a question for you guys before I get into the interactive bit of the stream. I've got a question for you guys. What should be United's 3 priority positions in the summer? Because some people say we need a right back, some people say we need a goalkeeper, some people say we need a centre back, some people say we need a CDM, some people say we need a right winger, some people say we need a young striker, and some people say we need a Paul Pogba replacement. And in reality, over the next 2 seasons, we need all of them. But which 3 are the most important? CDM is definitely number 1 priority. But what's the second priority? Is it young striker? For me, it would be young striker. And what's the third priority? So CDM's the first priority. Young striker is the second priority. Is the third priority right winger? Is the third priority a box to box? Is the third priority a centre back, a right back, a goalkeeper? For me, it's probably a right winger. Probably right winger, striker, and CDM. Because I think Delot's been good. I think Lindelof, Varane, and Bailly are fine. And I think in terms of Pogba replacements, got Donny coming back. Fred's quite good in the 8 role. McTominay's quite good in the 8 role. I think it's just the CDM we need. But, I mean, what do you guys say? People say DM centre-back and 9 for me, says Andrew. David said centre-back, CDM, left winger. Luke says depends on the coach. Yeah, definitely depends on the coach. Team spirit first priority, says Kurt. You're absolutely spot on with that, Kurt, actually. Team spirit should be first priority. Everyone but Sancho. I mean, everyone but Sancho and Varane at the moment. CDM's second forwards and third right back, says Steve. And Daniel said he'd also say young striker. People saying striker, right back, CDM, centre back. I think it's got to be striker, CDM, and then either centre back or right wing for me. And we need new manager, new owners, new team, says Gaz. I mean, Gaz, you spot on. First priority, new owners. Second priority, bin everyone but like Sancho and Varane at this rate, honestly. But no, I actually do like Bruno and De Gea and a lot of players when I say that. And now the season is over, we should play more of the young players, says Chris. I absolutely agree. And I was saying this, I was like, look, there's still hope for top 4, but realistically, it's fucking gone. The Arsenal aren't dropping points. You know, they've got their shit together. And I do sit there and I do sometimes think, oh, you know what? You know what United could do? Is they could just go and play the youngsters. I do sometimes sit there and think we should play the youngsters. If Ten Hag, it will be right back. I think Ten Hag will like Delot, but I don't think Ten Hag will like De Gea and Maguire. I will say that. Andrew said we could lose Ronaldo, Martial, and Cavani, and we all know about Mason, so we need a 9. Yeah, that's for me. That's why it's CDM and a 9, and then I don't know. For me, we have to get a CDM and a young striker, and then depending on the manager, see where the third position would be, whether it be right winger, box to box, goalkeeper, right back, centre back. I mean, maybe centre back to be fair. Andrew says the midfield is diabolical. He wants to see Hannibal. I'd love to see Hannibal. I'd like to see Hannibal, Matic, and Fred. Which people will say, but I want to see Hannibal if he's given a bit of freedom, and I think Fred and Matic were given the most freedom. Weirdly, not that I think we will see that. And S King says we should already have one of the young strikers playing. It would show if we need a striker in the summer, with Ronaldo potentially saying, yeah, I just think that I would give Charlie McNeil a run in, to be fair. I'd put Charlie McNeil on the bench at this rate, because people saying Pogba, look, I'd like Pogba to stay, but I think he's gone. I think Paul Pogba is gone as well. Guys, what I do want to do is actually, I do want to share my screen with you guys in a second. Hannibal the Cannibal. It could be. Let me share my screen with you guys. I did not make this tier list. I literally got this tier list up now. So, you know, don't have a go at me. When it says currently in jail, not a footballer. I didn't actually make this tier list. So, do bear that in mind. But we're gonna rank some United players. We're gonna rank some United players together, I think. And we're going to go through our squad, and we're going to think of the squad rebank. Who needs to go? Ronaldo is apparently staying at Manchester United. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But as you can see on my screen, you've got the tiers. I didn't make this. You've got the GOAT tier, you've got the great tier, you've got the good tier, you've got the decent tier, you've got the mediocre tier, you've got future stars, you've got currently in jail, and not a footballer. Okay? So, I mean, we'll start off with Alex Telles, and he's mediocre, isn't he? He's mediocre. He's an okay squad player, but Alex Telles to me is mediocre. Amad Diallo, future star. Andreas Pereira, I'm just putting him not a footballer because he's not really, is he? Alanga, he's a future star. Martial, I'll put Martial in the decent tier, okay? What do you guys feel about Anthony Martial? Do we think about keeping Martial? Is Martial a player that United should keep? Especially because, you know, he will be with Cavani gone, with Grima gone, with Ronaldo maybe going, but it looks like he's going to stay according to recent news, but you just don't know with Ronaldo. Should we be keeping Martial? Could Ten Hag potentially get some kind of revival out of Anthony Martial, guys? People say no sell. Pyramid says keep Tony. Elizabeth says too lazy. Mentality says I love Tony. I like Martial. I still believe there's a good player in Martial, and I think if he was under Ajax's system, the Ten Hag system, I think we could get a lot of goals out of Anthony Martial. And it might be an unpopular opinion, but actually, personally, myself, I would probably keep Anthony Martial at Manchester United, if I'm being honest with you guys. I would probably keep Martial. But the thing is, if Martial wants to go, I think you have to let him go, because you don't want players at Manchester United that maybe don't want to be here. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we're going to put him in not footballer. And that might be a bit mean to Wan-Bissaka, but there's not a sell tier. I'd put him in a sell tier if there's a sell tier. I like Wan-Bissaka, but he's been poor for well over a year now. And I think we should look at selling Wan-Bissaka. I think Delo is better. I think Mengi. I think, what's he called? Jeez, I forgot his name. Laird. I think Laird could even be better. I think there's Lamptey. There's a lot of right backs out there. I'd be looking to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. I'd also be looking to get rid of Tuanzebe. It's just not worked on loan for him. I think he's a quick centre-back. But he's 23. I don't think he's going to be good enough for United. And it's a shame, because I would still play Tuanzebe over Maguire. I'd still play Axel Tuanzebe over Maguire, but I think it's time to go. Brandon Williams. People might say he's shit. I put Brandon Williams as mediocre, because Brandon Williams is still only 20. And Brandon Williams has actually been one of Norwich's best players. Yes, he's playing for Norwich, but he's been one of their best players. And I think Brandon Williams is a player, even on his loan spell at Norwich, is a player that, you know it's Premier League quality, but not Man United quality. I can see Brandon Williams at 25 playing for a team like Southampton or Brighton. I can. I think Brandon Williams will be a good player. He might be a player that, gets an England call up one day. I think he's actually been quite good at Norwich, to be fair to Brandon Williams. But I don't know if it'll ever be good for United, because the thing is, he's very young. Brandon Williams might become a player good enough for United. I think he might be good as a squad player. But I would give Brandon Williams another Premier League loan at somewhere like Southampton. Andrew says that Brandon Williams is more tenacious, passion rather than skillful. I agree. And that he's a squad player at best. I agree with you, Andrew. I think Brandon Williams is a mediocre player. I see Brandon Williams being a Brighton Southampton player at 25. But I hope he becomes a United level player. And I don't think he's been too bad at Norwich. Now, look, people are going to disagree with me on that. A lot of the fan base hate Bruno, but I'm putting Bruno in the great tier. Because, yes, Bruno's been off this season. Yes, Bruno hasn't been his best this season. Yes, Bruno loses the ball. But Bruno had been our best player for the 2 seasons before that. Bruno had carried us for 2 years, guys. So I don't care that this Bruno's been off, not been great for the last 6 months. Bruno Fernandes, in the last 2.5 years, has been Manchester United's best player. And for me, that is why he's going in the great tier. David said you should sell Brandon. I give Brandon Williams another loan. However, the money he's on is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why we're giving that top contract. Ronaldo obviously going in the GOAT tier for the sake of this video, just for literally for the sake that he is the GOAT. I don't care. Daniel James, we'll put him in not a footballer because he's at Leeds. David De Gea, I'm putting in the good tier. Okay, and I think David De Gea is a player when he's such a controversial player. You know, there's actually United fans celebrating that De Gea wasn't called up for Spain because it can prove their De Gea agenda. I think how toxic is our fan base that some of us are celebrating that De Gea's not been called up for Spain. I think, Jesus. Now, I think with David De Gea, he's not the modern keeper, okay? I think if you want to become a Premier League and Champions League winning team, long term, cool, get rid of De Gea. But I think right now, when we've got 7 or 8 worse positions than goalkeeper, De Gea is not a problem at this club, okay? I know his distribution's shit, but I'd rather have a player that can stop shots and is the best stop shotter in the world than a player that can't stop shots but can pass, okay? Because I think right now United need a CDM, a centre-back, a right winger, a box-to-box, a young striker and a right winger more than a goalkeeper. And David De Gea is a very good goalkeeper, and I think for the next 2 seasons, I'd keep David De Gea. I think he's been brilliant this season. Maybe in 3 seasons' time, when we rebuilt the first team, we might have to look at changing De Gea for a more technical keeper. But I have no issue with David De Gea. I have no issue with it. I think he's world class. He's a few limitations, as Andrew said, but I think he's the best shot stopper in the world. I know people have an agenda against him, but right now, he's one of the least of our problems, so I have no issue with it. David said, you're right about Bruno Alice. He got us Champions League football. He just needs to stop whinging. He does. I mean, Bruno whinging annoys me as well. Bruno whinging absolutely annoys me as well. You could put De Gea in the great tier. And this isn't, I think, you know, you could put De Gea in the great tier, to be fair. I'm going to put him in the good tier just because of his limitations. Dean Henderson, I actually think, is a decent goalkeeper. And I have no issue if Dean Henderson played for United. But I think we need to get rid of one of our goalkeepers. Diego Dalot, I'm putting in the decent tier as well. I think Diego Dalot has proven to be quite good this season. But he hasn't been good long enough to go in the good tier. I've been really impressed with Diego Dalot this season. He's clearly improving under RALF Rangnick. I will say regarding Diego Dalot, and I'd put him in the good here. Pyramid Scheme says De Gea and Bruno don't even make City's bench, but for United they're great. We're done. I mean, De Gea would make City's bench. I think Pep Guardiola would obviously start Ederson over De Gea, but I'd actually start De Gea over Ederson. I think the best keeper in the league is Alisson, then Mendy, then De Gea. For me, I don't actually rate Ederson, but for Pep's system, of course. Bruno would start for City, I think. I think he would. I think because under Pep, Bruno would have to be a more disciplined player. And Bruno is a top player. Whether he gives the ball, wherever he moans, Bruno's a top player. I think he would play under Pep Guardiola. I think he would make their bench easily. But yeah, I don't think De Gea would ever play for City. Is De Gea? I think people say put De Gea in great tier. You know what? We are going to put De Gea in great tier because he's done a lot for this club. We will put De Gea in the great tier. Donny van de Beek, I'm putting in the decent tier. I know things aren't brilliant at Everton, but he's never been given a chance, and he was always a good up-and-coming player. And when he did get his chance at United, he was normally all right. I think that I would keep Donny van de Beek. For me, he goes in the decent tier. GOAT tier, great tier of players that I think I find decent players that, I think are just decent, if you want my honest opinion. Cavani, look, he's a good player, but this season, you fucking... With Cavani, I think he's a good player, but I'm putting him in the not footballer tier because he's done fuck all this season. Cavani's finished. Eric Bailly, again, is decent. I keep Eric Bailly at Manchester United. I would. Bruno just needs to clean up on losing position and sort out the attitude, possession. Sorry, yeah, I do agree with you there, Andrew. Be good to get Donny back in pre-season, says David. It would be. And Daniel said he put Donny in the great tier. I wouldn't put Donny in the great tier yet, but I think, it'd be nice to put Donny in the great tier. With Eric Bailly, I think he's decent. I think he's a good bench player. I'd like to see him play more. I think he's better than Maguire. No issue with Eric Bailly. Palestri goes in future stars. people are going to laugh. People are going to laugh, okay? But I'm going to put Fred in the good tier. Because although Delo, I think, is probably going to be a better footballer than Fred one day, and Donny is a better footballer than Fred, I think because Fred has been our best player under RANGNICK, because Fred has been a consistent starter the last few years, and I actually think Fred is a good player, just not Muck Fred. Fred when he plays with McTominay is shit, but Fred when he plays with Matic, Fred when he plays with Pogba is quite good. I'm putting Fred in the good tier. You can laugh at me all you want. I think Fred's a good player. I do. I generally do. Okay? I think Fred's a good player. We could put him in not a footballer. Fred, one day, Fred is the thing. One day you put Fred in the GOAT tier. The next day you put him in not a footballer. I think Fred is decent, but we're putting him in good just because I would happily keep Fred. People are going to think, Alice, you're fucking deluded. I know, Donny's a better player than Fred, Delo's a better player than Fred, Marshall's a better player than Fred. They are. But they barely play compared to Fred. And Fred has probably been our best player under Ralf Rangnick. So that's going to make me like an idiot putting Fred in the good tier. And I admit Fred is probably decent tier, and I'm being generous putting him in the good tier. Andrew has said maybe our standards are lower. And you know what, Andrew? Now you said that our standards are low. With the standards of Man United, Fred is indecent. I'm gonna change Fred to decent because I'm thinking actually look at the standards of this club. Yeah, no, we'll put Fred in decent. What? Hannibal Mejbri, clear future star, and Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, guys. I mean, is there a tier below not a footballer? I mean, Harry Maguire's going and not a footballer tier. Jadon Sancho's going in the GOAT tier, just purely off 2 months before. No, he's going in the great tier. You know what? We're going to go off this season. Actually. We're going to move Bruno down to the good tier. And we're going to go off this season, bar Ronaldo, just because he's the GOAT. And we're going to put Jadon Sancho in the great tier. Honestly, someone said, "Lol, you smoking weed." Is that because I put Fred in great at first? Jimmy Garner is a future star, without a doubt. Jesse Lingard can go in mediocre. Honestly, yeah. I think, but I say maybe Sancho great. Fred is a start for the Brazil national team. He is exactly. Daniel says Maguire the GOAT, and Fred would not get into half the Premier League midfield. So that is a good point. Maguire should be in a bin man tier. Yeah, Maguire should be in a bin man tier, to be fair. Juan Mata, this is no disrespect to Juan Mata, but I'm putting him not a footballer because his legs are gone. Lee Grant is useless, not a footballer. I'm putting Luke Shaw in the decent tier. Luke Shaw is our best left back. Marcus Rashford. I mean, this season you'd be putting Marcus Rashford in not a footballer tier. If you're going off this season, Rashford goes in not a footballer tier. But I still believe Rashford's 24. Rashford's 24, and if you look at the player and the output that Marcus Rashford had at 22, I think it would be really disrespectful to put him in not a footballer tier. I think, he might just become a crap player. Like, let's be honest. But I think right now, I would generally put Marcus Rashford in the decent tier. Just not really this season. Mason Greenwood, guys. Ooh, I think we'll put Mason Greenwood in currently in jail. Again, this isn't my tier list. I've downloaded this tier list, okay? I've downloaded this tier list, but we'll put Mason Greenwood in currently in jail. We won't discuss that anymore. Nemanja Matic, I'll put in decent, just because he still has some impact at this club. But he's basically finished. Paul Pogba, I'll put in good. Paul Pogba on his day isn't like great and GOAT, but Paul Pogba is in good because he's not consistent. Maguire should be in jail as well. Criminal that he cost 18 million. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Phil Jones, not a footballer. No. Phil Jones can go and GOAT tier. He's won a Premier League. If you win a Premier League, you can go and GOAT tier. But we'll put Phil Jones in GOAT tier. Someone said Greenwood should be in future star. I'm not going to put Greenwood in future star because he's probably got no career left. Rafael Varane is going in great without a doubt. Rafael Varane is up there in great tier. Scott McTominay for me is indecent. I like Scott McTominay, but I think he's a good player. Shula Satiri for me is a future star. Teef Chong for me is a future star. I think Teef Chong, he was good at Birmingham. To be fair, if I'm being honest, I think he's finished. Ted Mengi is a future star. Tom Eaton, you can go and not a footballer. And Victor Lindelof, you could put him in good, but I think he's indecent. I think for me, Ronaldo and Phil Jones are our GOATs. Sancho, De Gea and Varane are our greats. Bruno and Pogba are our goods. And then the rest are decent. And I think, do you know what's really sad? Is if you're at Man United, you need to be better than decent. You know, decent is all right for squad players, but you want at least 11 players to be in great and good. You know, if you look at the standards of Man United, if you look where we want to be, we really want at least 11 players in great and good. We've got 5 players in great or good. We want at least 11 because you want your whole squad to be considered great or good, and then your bench players can be decent. But the majority of our squad is just decent. I mean, you could even argue McTominay and Matic could go in mediocre right now. You know, honestly, you could argue Rashford goes in mediocre right now. You know, I'm being generous putting them in decent as well. But the fact that, you know, Sancho can stay, De Gea can stay, Varane can stay, Bruno's good enough, and Pogba's good enough. That's 5 players. Lindelof is decent, but is he good enough to win your Premier League titles? He's a good bench player. He's a good backup centre-back. Fred is decent, but could you win Premier League titles as Fred is your main midfielder? Good bench player. Same with Dalot. Same with Martial. Same with Henderson. Same with Donny. Same with Bailly. Same with Luke Shaw. Same with Matic. Same with Scott McTominay. Same as Rashford. Do they stand out as title-winning, Champions League-winning players? No. And the bulk of our squad is decent, mediocre, currently in jail, or not a footballer. You know? 5 players here. And Ronaldo. And Phil Jones is just in there for the memes. You know, it just shows. And David said, look, it just shows where we are looking at your table. Not enough quality to compete with City and Liverpool. Because if this is City and Liverpool squad, you've got about 6 players in good. You've got about 8 players in great. You've got a few players in decent, and you've got maybe 1 or 2. They haven't got anyone in jail. You know, you look at Man City. They've got maybe 8 players in great, 6 players in good, the rest in decent, and maybe 1 or 2 in jail or not a footballer. You know, maybe 1 and a couple of few stars, maybe one or 2 decents on the bench. You look at us, most of the squad's just decent or mediocre. Most of it is. You know, honestly. The problem is we let Maguire start every game, let Lindelof have a run. It should be Lindelof and Varane, I agree. It really, on current form, it should be Lindelof and Varane at Manchester United. And I think most people agree with that. The sad thing is, Harry Maguire has this favouritism at United where it's that Harry Maguire has to start every game. And I don't get it. McFred should be in jail, they're shite, says Gaz. And you know what? You're right. McFred are shite and have been shite. But what I will say about McFred is McFred together are shite, but McFred, okay, on their own with a good CDM next to them can have a good game. I still think if we get a top CDM, Fred and Bruno, it wouldn't be that bad as a midfield 3. People will disagree. Maybe I'm just deluded. Rashford and Brandon Williams have been seen in Dubai at the boxing. That's just come out as news. Not that anyone cares, but that is news as well. Been a lot of other news coming out. United's obviously got Toby Koila as their new signing for the academy. Did a video on him the other week. That has been confirmed. He was actually at the United's under-18 game. Guys, I know this is like a month away. On April 30th, Manchester United will be playing in the FA Youth Cup final on April 30th, which is a month and a bit away. Do you want me to do a watch-along for the United Youth Cup final? Because the last time Manchester United's under-18s made the Youth Cup final was when Paul Pogba, Jesse Lingard and Ravel Morrison were playing. That was the last time we made the final of the Youth Cup. And I think, you know, the last time we made the final of that cup, Paul Pogba was in our academy. And now we've got Garnacho, Charlie McNeil, hundreds of players, 10 or 11 good players, Hannibal Mejbri. Would you like me to do a watch-along for United Youth Cup games? I know it's like 5 weeks away, but we haven't been in the Youth Cup final since the Paul Pogba Academy days. This is arguably our best academy since the Paul Pogba Academy. I know I call it the Paul Pogba Academy, but you know the last team that won the Youth Cup. I mean, I want to tell you, like, Shulis, Hannibal, Garnacho were players we know, but you know we've got Show Hugo's a good player as well. You know, United have got some absolute ballers in the academy. You know, we beat Wolves under 18s 3-0 in the semi-final. You know, we've got Mark Sherrado was a good right back that we brought from Barcelona, I believe. He's a good player. We've got Kobbie Mainoo, who's, you know, the next Pogba. Kobbie Mainoo, whatever you want to call him. He's only 16. He looks like an absolute baller. Charlie McNeil, Joe Hugo, Garnacho, who we do know. We've got loads of brilliant players. We've also got Alvaro Fernandez, the young left back we brought from Real Madrid. Shola Shatiri. I mean, Elanga's been called up. So I think I will be doing a watch long in about a month, in about 5 weeks' time for the Under-18 Youth Cup final, because I think that's massive, and I think all the even if only one or two or three of these academy players will make it, but it just shows the quality we have in our academy, and I think it would be a good opportunity to watch it. The current academy of class, look on those loans, legit quality. We have overhyped some previous classes. Yeah, I think we have overhyped academy players, but you look at James Garner on loan. I don't even think Brandon Williams is doing that bad on loan either, to be fair. Most of our loanies doing well. Dylan Levitt actually scored a worldie today on loan, and Sedan Iqbal, Hannibal Mejbri, and Garnacho are getting called up for their international teams, United Academy players. And this Kobe guy is like the next Paul Pogba for me. I mean, we've got some absolute gems in that academy, and we always hype up our academy players. I do agree in that. We always seem to hype up our academy players and all of that. But I look at that academy and I think, wow, we've got some real talent in that academy, to be fair. And I you know what? This season's been so crap. This season has been so crap that I honestly think that the academy is the highlight of our season, because everything else about the season it just seems to be awful. Gaz says put the Glazers in jail. We should be putting the Glazers in jail, Gaz. You know what? You're right. The Glazers should be in jail. My first choice midfield is TCHOUMENI, Fred Fernandez. You know what? I'd like that. People will hate it. People will say, no, Bruno loses the ball. I'd like that midfield, to be fair. We have Charlie Savage as well. That's a good shot. I mean, United have so many academy players. It's very competitive, but I just think this is one of our most exciting academies in years. And Jadon Sancho is only 21. Jadon Sancho is, one of the best up-and-coming youngsters in the world as well. And look, we've got a lot of good youngsters, to be fair. We've got a lot of crap in the squad as well. And this is what infuriates me, is because so many of our first team players have been absolutely crap. Like, so many of our first team players have been crap. I'm thinking, well, look how good our academy's been. Why don't we give more a chance? Why have we got 2 goalies on the bench? I do think that. Keep smashing the like buttons, guys. Yes, guys, if you've not hit that like button, please do hit that like button. Let's see if we can get 200 likes by the end of this live stream. So it'd be really, really appreciated if you do hit that like button. And also, guys, if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed to Alice Talks Football, what are you doing? What are you doing? Please do go ahead and subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. I go live because we've got no Man United for 2 weeks and there's an international break and there's not much going on. I'll probably be live every other night, okay? They'll basically be daily videos. I think it will be live, short video, live, short video. There'll probably be a short video tomorrow unless there's something exciting, then I'll go live. Then Monday I'll be live, Tuesday short video, Wednesday I'll be live, Thursday short video, Friday I'll be live in the evening. So for daily live streams, pretty much, and when Man United are back, when the international break's over, pretty much daily live streams. Please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football. It would be really appreciated. I do watch longs to every United game. I do match reactions. I do match previews. I do transfer news updates. I do loads of content in the summer transfer window. That's my main time. I do loads of content, so please do subscribe if that sounds like your thing. Eunice says that Rashford will go Barcelona. Rashford's been linked to Liverpool, Barcelona. I think he'll be at United next season, though. Manchester United needs the best midfielders. Exactly. Midfield is where we're lacking this season. And Andrew says, play the youth can also light fire under these stars. Plus, no better passion than the youth flag. Spot on, Andrew. And what did Arteta do? He threw out captain Aubameyang. He brought Saka, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli in from the youth. United throw out captain Maguire and bring in Garnacho, Hugo, and McNeil from the youth. That's what I say. Bring in Hannibal Mejbri as well. Alice, if Rashford leaves, where would he end up? On current form, somewhere like Brighton. Maybe Newcastle. However, he could go Barcelona. I could see Rashford at Newcastle, West Ham, to be fair. And TCHOUMENI, Pogba, Fred is what Kamara wants. That would be a really nice midfield, but I don't see Paul Pogba staying. I think maybe if you got like Sedan and TCHOUMENI or a manager that Paul Pogba liked, he'd stay. But then to keep Paul Pogba, we'd have to pay ridiculous wages, deal with Mino Raiola, and then deal with Pogba wants to leave, Pogba wants to go. I mean, that's the thing. And does Klopp want Rashford? I don't know. I think Liverpool would like Rashford to piss off United fans, but I don't think Liverpool would actually want Rashford, if that makes sense. No disrespect to Rashford. I think he's a good player. I still rate Rashford. I think he's been poor this season, but I believe there's a top player, Marcus Rashford, because Marcus Rashford was very, very good for us for a very, very long time. And I think he's highly disrespected. But guys, look, I'm going to wrap up the live stream here. I am going to end the live stream because I've literally been live for a very, very long time for me. I was meant to go live for an hour, but then we did our tier listing at the end, and I haven't been live much. I think my plan is to do longer live streams but less live streams in the international break, because there's not much to talk about. It'll probably be every other day live streams. However, if there is lots to talk about, then it will be daily live streams. But I'll try and make my live streams longer. But big up everybody for watching today's video. I am going to end the video here, so thank you everybody for tuning in. Please do make sure you smash that like button, subscribe down below if you're new, share this video, bish bash bosh. See you guys another time. Bye.